And the Bazurski, what'd you think?
Well, that was good. I mean, I always like that, and
I
that's
liked her
one
I
of
liked
those
that it was
things where it's
moving.
better to hear it in person than to hear it on the radio.
Yeah,
all
well,
the
because
time.
they play it so
Gets
often that
kind
it's
of
just like
boring on the
ugh.
radio, but it's really nice in person
Well, I
because
also,
of the music. Different instruments have solos and
right.
all that kind of thing.
But
And
I
it's
also
very
believe that
interesting.
piece is almost, well, not better, but I like the piano version. Because, he wrote it for the piano and then Ravel orchestrated
Yeah.
it. Or they used the
I
Ravel
know.
orchestration, other people
Yeah,
orchestrated it.
right.
But the piano, even though it's one instrument, you can bring out all these colors.
Yeah, well,
But okay,
well,
but
I
the
like the
orchestra
orchestra.
Okay, fine.
I like the
Yes,
one thing
okay.
that I must mention I didn't like was the vibrato on the tuba for the
yeah.
beadlo. I mean, the brass instruments have a beautiful pure sound without this vibrato thing that
You said
some
that's
people
like a
use.
French
Well,
style.
the French. That's my hair again.
Okay, so her hair and the two. Okay, so the vibrato.
Yeah,
is
a lot of
little
the
too-
French
Is it because it's a
players
slow
have it.
vibrato? It's got that.
It's- Well, in a brass instrument, you have to make your vibrato with your lips
Right.
somehow, and it's not always nice. I think because the pure sound of those instruments is very nice. It has a natural ringing, almost a vibrato in a good brass instrument. Why do you have to put the vibrato in there? I don't think it carries any better. I think a brass instrument to me is like a beautiful bell, sounding out. And bells don't have a vibrato; they vibrate with the
Yeah,
air
they're
coming
emotional
through.
resonance.
And tubas and horns and trombones, they have a beautiful sound, clear sound in an orchestra. It's very beautiful, and I just don't like vibrato with it.
Okay.
So that's all. I mean, but the orchestra played very well.
Yeah, well,
it was good, and all the little
once
solos
they got to
was
the
good.
Hindemith, it's like they were more warmed up. The opening of the Hindemith was not the greatest for me. Okay, but when they got towards the end of the first movement,
Yeah.
it's like all of a sudden they were into it.
Well, that's probably
because then
true.
the opening of the second movement was great.
Yeah.
I felt that. I felt they ended the first part, and then they were right in the second. And the same thing happened the second to the third. Because we were just
Wow.
practicing, and I was talking about the fact that
You gotta
it's
go.
the rests. You got to continue the line, and so I felt that with that in those pieces when the orchestra played in the Hindemith. So
Okay,
was
but
good.
it was a good concert. I mean, it was very enjoyable, and maybe if we. Now, even it wouldn't matter if you learn more about his themes in there
No.
because it's
no,
the
I'm sorry.
it's the listening to it. If you're listening to it and it sounds boring, then there's something wrong with it. That's all. And it
So
was
at least you
boring.
made up for it with the other
Yes,
pieces.
yes,
So
very nice.
anyway, so that was
So-
our little thing with that.
With that, right?
Final thoughts? No. Okay.
No,
Yeah,
let's go
go.
on
Okay,
to-
we're going on to opera finally.
Yes, yes.
Okay. So we saw Der Rosenkavalier
In the
by Mr.
HD.
Richard Strauss in the Metropolitan Opera production. We had Renee Fleming as the Marschallin. We had Susan Graham
Graham.
as Octavian. And then we had the German soprano whose name I
As usual.
no,
She's not a well-known
no, but
person,
she
really.
she was in the Frankfurt or something because I
Really?
had recognized her name and
I don't
I know,
know.
but anyways,
I don't know.
I will say that HD is not always your friend. Okay?
Yeah.
Because, no offense, but Susan Graham is not the youngest woman.
Mhm.
Okay, and she is supposed to be playing a teenage boy
Yeah.
who is in love with the Marschallin, who is 32, but in her day is considered old, which is a very sad statement. But age always, who cares? If you're
Yes.
alive,
All
that's
right,
great.
it doesn't
So
matter
anyways,
anyway.
HD is not your friend when you're a little bit old and you're attempting to play a teenage boy who is, sprightly and young and ooh. But anyways, and I didn't think it was to Sophie's effect either. Because she didn't look like a young teen either.
Okay.
So maybe if they had either
They were
used
further
different lighting
away or something.
or just a little bit back off,
Mm-hmm.
so you don't do these close-ups of their faces
yeah,
where you
yeah.
can see and in their neck and stuff.
Yeah.
So that's one
true.
comment about
But-
HD that you need to be careful of. But the production was good. I had seen this
Yeah.
production at the Met several years ago when Felicity Lott and Carlos Kleiber was conducting. So I preferred Renee Fleming as the Marjolaine because she really is amazing in that opera.
Fantastic.
I mean, she was just in a
really
class
is.
by herself.
Yeah.
I mean, I know everyone loves
Just-
Susan Graham as Octavian and say that that's one of her best roles, but it is and it isn't. But compared to the Marjolaine with Fleming, I mean, there's no comparison.
She was really,
Sorry.
really good.
Fleming is
She
great.
just, it just rolls out of her, and you
Yeah.
feel her character so much.
Uh-huh.
Oh,
Yeah, she
that's
gets
just
very
an-
in depth, and you know there isn't
Yes,
tons of
yes.
singing for the Marjolaine. She's
Yeah.
not in the second act whatsoever.
Right.
She's in the third, and then obviously in the first.
Yeah,
And in the
but
third, I mean,
she
there's
was
so
really
many
good.
emotions going through her because here, you know, she thinks she's in love with Octavian, but although she's married. But anyways, that's her lover boy. But anyways, she essentially loses
She
him,
loses.
and
She
then the whole
realizes
time, you know, she's fighting
youth
this.
is-
That her youth is
Youth is going, and
fleeing,
youth lives on.
flighting, whatever.
Fleeing.
But fleeing, okay,
Yes.
youth is fleeing, and it's
Yes.
happening rather quickly. Because, you know, Octavian just met that same day Sophie.
Yeah,
and then,
he's
you know,
in
that
love with
evening.
her already.
And then, and that was another part that I didn't especially get from Octavian and Sophie. Because when she's presenting, when he is presenting the rose,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and she smells it, and then
They're supposed to look at each other.
Yes, and they're like, you know, they're in love thing.
Yeah.
I didn't totally get that.
Okay. Wasn't dramatic enough.
No, it wasn't. There wasn't this sort of, you know,
Spark.
spark and real energy between the two of them. Like, you know, they just had to be together, and this is it. But you know, okay,
All right.
so you can't have everything.
No, but Renee Fleming, it's worth seeing it just for her.
Yeah, just for her.
Absolutely.
Yep,
It was
yep,
just.
yep. Yep, yep.
It's her really one of her parts.
Yeah.
One of her-
Well, Strauss really does fit her voice perfectly.
Yeah.
I mean, there are just
True.
some composers that fit in people's voices better than others, and for her, I think it's actually better. I personally feel she's better in the Strauss than she is in the Mozart, even though everyone says that she's a Mozart singer. But for some reason, the color of her voice fits
It's
the
a little
Strauss.
richer, yeah.
And it brings out more color in her voice, which reminds me of when we were in Vienna once and we heard Domingo sing and he was doing Pagliacci.
Yes.
And I think it was the first time we ever saw him, and I was like 17 or whatever. But I just remember so much color in his voice,
Yes.
having heard it live. And we were at the absolute back,
Top.
standing
Standing
in
room.
Vienna, at the Vienna Staatsoper. But he just had all this color in his sound that was just amazing to me.
Well,
but
every time you
anyways,
hear him, it's like that.
right, but
It's
the
just-
point is, so I feel that from Renee Fleming when she's singing in Strauss. That I don't always get from other composers. But I also like that opera because for me it was when you took
Number
me when
one,
I was
yeah,
16
yeah.
and I saw Frederica von Stade and she was singing Octavian. Now there is a perfect Octavian. And I said that because, you know, she wasn't the youngest woman either, but her
She was more
approach
lively or
to
something,
doing the
wasn't it?
Octavian where
Yeah.
it's a teenage boy, it was, I mean, it was just amazing.
Yeah.
And I was still, I remember thinking at the time, it was amazing that it's a woman playing a man, playing a woman, blah, blah, blah. You know, because, you know, she puts on her Mariandel costume.
Yes, yes.
So, but anyway, so I thought that was amazing. But when
Yeah.
then we had a dream cast because you had Elizabeth Soderstrom,
Yes,
Kathleen Battle, who,
Kathy.
that was a pretty amazing role
Yes,
for her.
yes.
And Frederica von Stade,
Yeah.
and I think James Line was conducting.
I have no idea.
I'm pretty sure because
I
isn't
don't
that when
know.
we saw Valkyria with John
Yeah,
Vickers?
John Vickers.
And your chica gal, Joanna
Well,
Meyer.
Oh
Joanna
yeah,
Meyer.
Joanna Meyer. That's right. She was
Your
playing.
friend.
Yes,
Okay.
one of my Carol's